That was Squonk from A Trick of the Tail. This next one is from my new record. It's called One for the Vine.
His claim was phrased quite simply, though he never voiced it loud. I am he, the chosen one. In his name they could slaughter, for his name they could die. Though many there were believed in him, still more were sure he lied. But they'll fight the battle on. Then one whose faith had died fled back up the mountainside. But before the top was made, a misplaced footfall made him stray. A path prepared for him above the mountain, onto the wilderness of ice. This unexpected vision made him stand and shake with fear. But nothing was as bright compared with those who saw him appear. Terror filled their minds with awe. Single word upon this frozen way. So not surprising was their fall. This is he, God's chosen one. He's come to save us from all our oppressors. We shall be kings on this way. I will
a silly song. This is the story of Harry. Harry was a criminal.
He was a thief. Yes, he was a lowlife.
One of the lower echelon of our times. But tonight, he was sure his luck was going to change. Because tonight, he was after the big one. Tonight was to be the pinnacle of his career so far. Because tonight, yes, tonight, he was attempting to have a crack at the Brentford Nylon factory, and he was going to rob them of their entire Christmas tokens. Well, of course, this was nothing new, so he knew exactly where to go. He found the building with the safe in. And as he slipped between the guards, he made his way into the room with the safe, and he started to open the safe, when all of a sudden, the door opened and in walked the night watchman. Oh, shit, thought Harry. So he got out his gun and he shot him. Anyway, the man fell dead on the floor, and so Harry now had to get rid of the body, and so he quickly dug a hole and pushed the man inside. Well, unfortunately, rigor mortis was starting to set in, and so Harry had to saw off the man's arms and legs. And while he was doing this, unfortunately, the incessant sawing set off the automatic alarm system, which of course set the police running, who in turn surrounded the building. Well, of course, Harry was taken to jail, and they split up all the money and took it home, and they all lived happily ever after. And with his one phone call, he rang up his mother and father, who drew all their money out of the Woolwich Equitable Building Society, established 1876, and hired two of the best lawyers they could find. And before Harry could say Patty Hearst, he was out of jail. And he's still in the appeal courts. This is his story. It's called Robbery, Assault, and Battery.
The streets were deserted, though the police were alerted. They considered the phone call a hoax. Furtively glancing, jauntily prancing, the youth caught the guards on the way. Slipping between them, he ought to have seen them. The eyes of their own were so near. With torch shining bright, he strode on in the night till he came to the room with the safe. Song.
This next piece is from our Lamb Lies Down on Broadway record. And it's a quiet rocker ballad, basically written on the way here. It's called Carpet Crawler.
Crawlers cover the floor in the red oak corridor. For my second sight of people leave more lifeblood than before. Then moving in time to a heavy wooden door where the needle's eye is winking, closing on the paw. The carpet crawlers heed their callers. We've gotta get in to get out. Oh, 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 oh. We've gotta get in to get out. Oh, 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 oh. We've gotta get in to get out. There's only one direction in the faces that I see, and it's upward to that ceiling where the chamber's said to be. Like a forest fight for sunlight that takes root in every tree. They're pulled up by the magnet, believing they're free. The carpet crawlers heed their callers. We've gotta get in to get out. Oh, 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 oh. We've gotta get in to get out. Oh, 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 oh. We've gotta get in
A brief intermission while I just take a few moments to go out in the jeep seats to tell you we have with us tonight our resident, temporary, permanent, part-time stand-in drummer, brought to you at great expense, the well-known misprint and typing error, Mr. Bill Bloomington. Sorry, Bruford. Straight £5 a night's not bad, is it? The cinema show.
Home from work, our Juliet glues her morning meal. She dabs her skin with pretty smells, concealing two beers. I will make my bed, she said, and turned to go on. Can she be late for her cinema show? Cinema show. Romeo locks his basement flat and scurries up the stair with Ed Eldine and Florentine, a weekend millionaire. I will make my bed with her tonight. He cries. Can he fail on with his chocolate surprise? Oh, take a little trip back with is in fact more earth than sea. Yes, they know.
and Dark Southall. Never heard of that one, eh? And in the days when, during the acoustic numbers, the clinking of beer mugs could be heard very clearly, we used to play some songs off the Trespass album. Acoustic songs off the Trespass album. So we should play one tonight called White Mountain.
Trespass and all may go, the last sacred haunt of the day. We learned of a truth that only one wolf may know, the scepter and crown of the king. Howling for blood, one-eye leads on the path, plunging through forests and snowstorms. Sleeping slime the sky, fans spread through jungles of ice. But hard on his tail, one night drew from the path, an old hero conquered by love. Steep far too steep, rose the pathway ahead. Descent was his only escape. But a wolf never flees in the face of his foe, and Frank knew the price he would pay. When I stood before him with the crown upon his head, set to raise to deal the deadly blow. His foe, the fan for the hero would bend. Don't soar away thought when I hear the pound and with lovers on his head return amongst his tribe and dwelt in peace.
We enjoyed that one too. What can you say? What can you say? The next song is another bit of Genesis melodrama. This time, it's a much maligned creature that gets the brunt of our humor. It is, of course, the mouse. Now, this particular mouse has a very sad story to tell. It's the story of his struggle to coexist in a world filled with two-legged and four-legged creatures, each bent on his extermination. Oh, indeed. Well, the lover is played by Mr. Anthony Banks. And we have, making a marked difference from his usual role as a sperm whale, Mr. Michael Rutherford as the mouse. A brief cameo performance by King Kong, Mr. Chester Thompson. And of course, every story has an evil person, and this one is the cat, played by Mr. Stephen Hackett. This is called All in a Mouse's Night.
this monster mouse, he's 10 feet tall, with teeth and claws to match. It only took one blow.
Thank you. It gives me a great pleasure now, great privilege to introduce to you the only used car dealer that I know that plays guitar, Mr. Steve Hackett.
Hello. How are you all doing tonight? I'd like to say hello to everybody we saw at Berkeley last time. Nice to see you again. All the friends here tonight. We're going to do an old number now, a really old one, from the days when we were selling in by the pound. It's a fairly short one, 7 minutes. It's quite short for us. It's called Further Fifth.
The path is clear, though no eyes can see. The course laid down long before, and so we've got to mend. The sheep remain inside their pen, though many times they've seen the way to leave. He rides majestic past homes of men who cannot or gaze with joy. Oh boy, to see reflected there the trees, the sky, really fair. The scene of death is lying just below. Oh, the mountain cuts off the town from view like a cancer growth is removed by skill. Let it be revealed. The waterfall is magical, and inland sea is symphony. Now, not now, not now. not now, now, now. And dino songs urge the sailors on to look by the sirens' cry. has claimed another soul. So with gods and men, the sheep remain inside their pen until the shepherd leads his flock away. The sands of time were eroded by the river of constant change.
Anyway, the next number is about a recurrent nightmare which becomes so bad that the man has to seek psychiatric help. Because he suffered from insomnia, that's why, you idiot. Anyway, the lyrics of this are based on a painting by a young artist called Kim Poor. It's a waltz, it's a slow 3-time, take your partners please for Entangled.
When you're asleep, they may show you aerial views of the ground. Freudian slumber, empty of sound. Over the rooftops and houses, lost as it tries to be seen. Fields of incentive covered with green. Mesmerized children are playing, meant to be seen but not heard. Stop me from dreaming, don't be absurd. Your eyes become heavier still. Sleep. Won't you allow yourself fall? Nothing can hurt you at all. With your consent we can experiment further still. Madrigal music is playing, voices can faintly be heard. Please leave this patient undisturbed. Sentenced to drift far away now. Nothing is quite what it seems. Sometimes entangled in your own dreams. your dreams are. Love, love. Well, if we can help you, we will. As soon as you're tired and ill, with your consent, we can experiment further still. Well, thanks to our kindness and skill, you have no trouble until you catch your breath and the nurse will present you the bill.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce to you Mr. Chester Thompson on the drums. So say hello. One of the few people I know that who have survived Mr. Zappa. And we are accepting credit cards or used dollar bills for Mr. Thompson after the performance. We're going to carry on now with some music from the new record. This is On the Other Side, and it's 3 songs really, and the first of which is called In That Quiet Earth.
search everywhere just to hear your call. Walk upon strangers in this wonderful world I used to know before I miss you all. And the sun reflecting off my pillow, bringing warmth of new light. And the sound that echoed all around me, I caught a glimpse of in the night. Oh, but now I've lost everything I give to you, my soul. The meaning of all that I believed before escapes me in this world of not knowing no one. I would search everywhere just to hear your call. Walk along stranger roads in this one in a world I used to know before. Oh, now I've lost everything I give to you. Oh, my soul, meaning of all that I believed before escapes me in this world of night. I miss you It's 1 o'clock and time for lunch. Bom-de-dum-de-dum-dum. When the sun beats down and I lie on the bench, I can always hear them talk. There's always been effort. Children, we got the tidy room now. And then Mr. Lewis is in the time that he was down on his own. No, no, no. Over the garden wall, 2 little lovers, cuckoo to you. Keep them a mowing blade sharp, and I know what I like. And I the sun beats down and I lie on my bench, I can always even talk. Me, I'm just a lawnmower. You can tell me by the way I walk.
Thank you. This next song is another one off the new album. The song takes place Well, the story of the song takes place in Scotland. It's a small country just north of England. It tells of a failed Scottish uprising. It's called the 11th Earl of Mar.
never seems to keep to be a I guess now in a house of dreams. Flying from a hillside, they bring their dreams, a silver tongue in the breeze. I'm fighting gravity falling. My daddy, he won't let them get me. Our fortunes seems to be calling. Our distance features are burning.
And now I'd like to tell you another silly story. This particular silly story involves two virgins, Romeo and Juliet.
Yes, they're the two virgins you've heard about.
Now, Romeo was 16 years old, and like every other 16-year-old man, boy, he was very horny. And so he decided to ring up his young lady, Juliet, and ask her out to a drive-in movie. Now, Juliet was also 16 and also very horny. And so she accepted his kind invitation. And within the hour, they were at the back of the park, in the back of his 57 Chevy, and everything was very nice, thank you. Anyway, there he was with his arm round her. Very quietly, he removed the paper bag from on top of her head. And then removed her I Love Gary Gilmore t-shirt. And then he removed her army boots, and there she was, completely naked. Anyway, very quickly and very excitedly, Romeo undid his shirt and took his trousers off. He did this himself because he tied Juliet to the steering wheel. Anyway, when he too was naked, he approached Juliet, a bit like that. And he started to move towards her, when suddenly Juliet remembered the time and said, "Romeo, Romeo, don't come one step closer with that thing. Untie me, I want to go home." Now you can imagine the devastating effect this had on Romeo. Anyway, he said, "Juliet, you can't leave me like this." And she said, "I'm sorry, Romeo, I must, because I'm very, very hungry, and supper's ready."
Walking across the sitting room, I turn the television off. Sitting beside you shrouded men move across the lawn slowly. The seventh walks in front with a cross held high in hand, and it's, hey babe, your supper's waiting for you. Hey my baby, don't you know our love is true? Now I've been so far from here, far from your loving arms. It's good to feel you again. Ooh, it's been a long, long time, such a long, long time, hasn't it? Wearing feelings on our faces while our faces took a rest. We walked across the fields to see the children of the West. We saw a host of dark-skinned warriors standing still below the ground. Waiting for battle, the fight's begun, we've been released, killing for peace. Bang, 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 bang. And they're giving me a wonderful potion, 'cause I cannot contain my emotion. I try. And even though I'm feeling low, something tells me I better activate my brain capsule. Today's the day to celebrate the foe have met their fate. The order for rejoicing and dancing has come from our world. Wandering in the chaos, the battle has left. We climb up the mountain of human flesh to a plateau of green grass and green trees full of life. A young figure sits still by a pool. He's been stamped human bacon by some butchery tool. He is you. Social security took care of this lad. We watch in reverence as Narcissus is turned to a flower. If you go down to Willow Farm to look for butterflies, flutterbies, butterflies, open your eyes. It's full of surprise. Everyone lies at the fox and the rocks. And the musical box. There's good and bad, and there's mom and dad, and everyone's happy to be. There's Winston Churchill dressed in drag. He used to be a British flag, plastic bag, what a drag. The Vogue was a prince. The prince was a brick, the brick was an egg, the egg was a bird. Fly away, you sweet little things, they're out on your tail. And you run. They're gonna change you into a human being. Oh no! They're happy as fish in the golden skis, and wonderfully clean in the morning. We've got everything. We're growing everything. We got some in, we got some out. We got some wild things floating about. Everyone, we're changing everyone. You name them all, we've had them here. But the real stars are still to appear. Oh, change it. Feel your body melt. Man to man to dam to dad. That to the office, that to the office. Oh, you're off in the ball. Dam to bomb to mom. Mom to the washing, mom to the washing. Oh, you're off for the ball. Let me hear your lies. We're living this up to the eyes. Here we are. Ooh, wow. Mama, I want you now. But as you listen to my voice, to the hidden doors, tidy floors, more applause. You've been here all the time, but like it or not, you like what you got. You're under the soil, the soil, the soil. It's deep in the soil, the soil, the soil, the soil, the soil. Ooh, so we'll end with that, and with the bang, I know that this will take our play. Cheers. on the back on your back, it's turning you around, throwing away the need up there. But remember, you don't look back. Whatever you do, yes, you better start doing it right. Alright, you better start doing it right. Alright. On your left and on your right, crosses are green, crosses are blue, president made it through. Over the night, out of the dark, into the fire, into the fight. Well, that's the way the heroes go. No, 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 no. Through a crack in motherhood, blazing hot, the molten rock spills up over the land, the land. Oh, love is the lover who licks your soul. Hey, hey. And if you don't want to boil as well, better start to dance. Do you want to dance with me? You should better start doing it right. The music's playing, notes are right. Put your left foot first, moving to the light. The edge of this hill is the edge of the world. If you're gonna cross, better start doing it right. You should better start doing it right. Simon, yes, you better start doing it right.
Well, it appears that we've come to the end of our evening together. You might not know this, but all your applause and wild enthusiasm has been captured on tape tonight because we're recording this for an album. Well, I suppose now that you're all on it, at least you'll buy it. Thanks for coming. See ya.
Down brush back your hair. I want to get to know your face. She's a lady, she is mine. Oh, brush back your hair. I want to get to know your flesh. I've been waiting here for so long, and all this time that passed me by, well, it hardly seems to matter now. Not now. You're standing with your fixed expression, casting down on all I have to say. Why don't you touch me? Touch me. Why don't you touch me? Touch me. Touch me now. 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 It is cooking.